Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about something very serious that happened in my past because of certain things that are happening currently. When I was 17, I was raped, and in order to tell this story completely and cover everything, this is probably going to be part one, and this will be about what had happened. So when I was 15, I started dating this guy, Jason. He's still like my best friend to this day. And we broke up. Well, we dated for like almost 3 years and then we broke up. But in that 3 year period of time, he was the first person I slept with. And when we did have sex, I immediately went on birth control pills. So I was supposed to be on them anyway because when I was 14, I had a lot of ovarian cyst issues. They really wanted me to get on birth control pills, but I didn't want to. But this was like the extra push. Like, okay, well, now I have to be safe, you know? So after we had broken up, I continued to stay on the pills because it was just something that I took every day, and I felt like my ovarian cyst pain wasn't very bad from taking them. So I decided to stay on them. When we broke up, I reconnected with like some old friends. One of them we'll call Jeff. And we, we had been friends and we would hang out. And at this point, I was almost 18. And we would, have some drinks, go out to eat, just, stuff like that. Nothing huge. We weren't, Laddie, there's no room for you. I'm sorry, my dog is like dying to come up here. But, we were like casually dating. Stay down there, babe. And so, we ended up hooking up a couple of times, but we were still not, he moved the thing a little bit, sorry about that. We still weren't, super serious, but we had hooked up a couple of times, and there was like an attraction there, but it wasn't somebody that I would like spend the rest of my life with. He was like kind of stupid. Like, I like book smarts, and he just was not very book smart, but nice guy, so I thought. So one night, a friend of mine, we'll call her Kathy. Kathy comes over to Jeff's house. We're drinking Rolling Rock. Ooh, just the thought of that makes me sick. We have some beers. She ends up passing out on the floor in a sleeping bag. His parents weren't home. They had like a boat and they would go out and be gone for like a weekend. This was on, I think, a Friday. And so the next thing I remembered was waking up to him on top of me. And I cannot tell you, I can't explain in words how it feels to have that weight on your chest pushing you down, And when I realized what was happening, I said no. I said, get off of me. And he didn't listen. And at first I was like, what am I going to do? Because we were like sort of seeing each other. And I even had a moment where I felt like it was my fault. I didn't know if we had been kissing before I passed out. And I wasn't like super drunk, but I was also on Celexa. So I think that's what it was called, an antidepressant. I wasn't supposed to drink. And I wasn't supposed to be drinking anyway at that age, but I did. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? So there's a police officer that lives behind me, and I spoke to him, and it was this whole thing, having to tell the story like 1,000,000 times. And there were always questions, except from him, except from that cop that still lives behind me. There were questions like, well, what did you wear? Why were you staying at his house? What were you sleeping in? All these things that was like, that just led me to feel like, oh my God, it's my fault. And there are maybe a lot of people out there that watch this, that think that, but when I said, no, get off of me, and he still kept going and came inside me while I'm struggling, I don't think that that's my fault. So eventually it ended up being like a he said, she said kind of a thing. And he was going into the army. Nothing even came of it. You know, how could somebody like that be in the army? But the way that I had felt after that, and even still to this day, I mean, I carry around, even if I'm not thinking about it, like physically, I feel it. I've been married for almost 9 years, and so there are times when my husband will touch me and I don't want to be touched, but he'll like joke around and keep touching me, and I'm like, get the fuck off me. I mean, it makes me feel like my skin is just gonna crawl off of my bones. It is not having a complete trust in men, you know, wondering what I did wrong, wondering, you know, blaming myself for so many things. You know, I shouldn't have been drinking. If I hadn't have taken my medication and had those beers that night, I would have been more aware, you know. And I couldn't answer some questions. I didn't know if we were making out, and you know, I passed out and he just kept going, which is fucking ridiculous, because if we were just kissing, then why is he having sex with me when I'm unconscious, when I'm passed out, you know? And I went through therapy. I had really bad panic attacks, anxiety attacks, nightmares. Sometimes I still do have nightmares. And it's the feeling of somebody just pressing down on me, the feeling that I have no control whatsoever, you know? And I don't think that's ever going to go away. My anxiety about that particular event isn't as bad. I still have really bad like panic attacks and stuff, like kind of unrelated to that. But it felt, I mean, it made me so insecure. How was I ever going to like get past this, you know? And eventually, you know, talking to some friends and talking to a therapist. Now, my friends sort of really didn't either believe me or care, because I had slept with Jeff before. But this was not consensual lovemaking or casual sex or like a hookup. That's not what this was. And that's why it hurt so bad. The force, I mean, I had some vaginal damage. And they really thought, well, either it's your fault because you were drinking, or it's your fault because you were there. It's your fault because, you know, you don't know what you're doing. And it's your fault because, like, how is that rape if you had sex with him before? Because I did not consent to it this time. Because I said no, because I was trying to physically get him off of me. That's why. You know, and I was there because, I mean, had been hanging out for months. I mean, nothing like that had ever happened before. We didn't hook up like every time, like we were together or anything, but it was consensual, you know, and it was fun, and I was protected by my birth control. So I thought. So recently, unexpectedly, very unexpectedly, on Facebook, I get a friend request from Jeff. And as soon as I saw it, everything came back. All of those feelings, all the statements I had to make, all the judging, all the people, you know, calling me a slut, you know, because why would anybody be upset with the actual rapist, right? The woman always did something, you know. And in my small town, the people that knew about it, what happened is I would talk about it to a friend who I trusted, and then they would tell the story. And as the story went along, it either got worse, where things like he beat the shit out of me and stuff, that stuff never even happened, to, oh, I would just like made it all up. It was like insane. So there were two good friends I had that I confided in that I was happy I did, but the story had gotten so twisted, and I wish that I had just kept my mouth shut, even though I appreciated the support from very few people, you know, that I was close to. But anyway, going on to Facebook, yeah, I saw this friend request, and I was like right back 17 years old again. What? Like, why after all of this time? It's like 17, 18 years ago. Like, Why would you, after all of this time, send me your friend request? No. So I ended up going to his page and I blocked him. And I didn't hear from him until I think it was 2 nights ago. I think it was Friday or Saturday night. And he had created a new Facebook page, and I didn't know that he had sent this, but it was like right after I blocked him from when he sent the friend request, he had messaged me. But those messages, I guess, went into, if you're not friends with somebody on Facebook, they go into like a message request place. So it was a couple days after he had sent me the friend request. I blocked him. He's got a new page. We have mutual friends on Facebook. And so I reached out to one of them and I was like, hey, like, that knows the situation. She was like, I didn't even realize that he was, like, I was even friends with him on here. So I'll delete him, but he did make another page. So anyway, so he sent me 3 messages on Facebook. One of which was, I'm sorry for giving you my pain. What the hell does that mean? And then one that said, I'm sorry the way I treated you, I was immature and I didn't respect you. That was the other message. Not respecting somebody and sexually assaulting somebody are 2 different things. And it's kind of unbelievable to me that that he would think after all of these years that 1, I would like to speak to him, 2, that I'm going to be friends with him even if it's on the internet, and 3, just saying I was immature and I didn't respect you is an apology, because it's not an apology whatsoever. I don't think that there's anything that could make me forgive that person. And I feel very badly that nothing really came of it, because who knows what he has done since then, you know? And this happened when he was 17, too, you know what I mean? Like, that's so long ago. And when there's no consequences to an action like that, then, you know, nobody really believes the woman. Or, I mean, I understand the way that laws are and certain evidence for certain things, but knowing that you tried to prevent it from happening again and not knowing if knowing that you failed and you don't know if he has hurt anybody else, that would keep me up at night. You know, it wasn't just what he did to me, but what could he do to somebody else? How far would he go? You know, rape in and of itself is about control and power, and it's aggressive and violent. And who's to say that he didn't do it again and like beat up somebody too? I don't know. I'm not like saying that he did. I'm not trying to, you know, imply that he did, but who knows is what I'm saying. Like, who knows what he had done since then? And maybe that's why he sent me a message, or maybe something happened and he decided to reach out to me because of that. I don't know. But I just like to say to Jeff, if he follows me on YouTube, I mean, I don't think he knows I have a YouTube channel, but fuck you. I do not forgive you. I'm never going to forgive you. And that was not even an apology. Not respecting me is a lot different than what you did. And you're a rapist. And when you say that out loud, I have to tell you right now, it feels pretty damn good to just say it and just get it out there. I haven't talked about this in so long, and I've never shared this with so many people, or so little people. I only have 100 subscribers. Nobody's probably even going to see this. But to say it, I mean, this is definitely therapeutic right now, which is what I thought it was going to be, which is why I decided to make a video about it, because it just was eating away at me. So I don't know why he messaged me, but I deleted that page, or I blocked that page too. And my neighbor, that's the police officer, he's supposed to be coming back from vacation. So I took screenshots and things like that, and I was going to show this to him. You know, I don't know if he's like, well, reach out to him and tell him that you don't want him to contact you anymore. And then if he does, you know, we'll do something, you know, if I can get like a no contact order just from this, I don't know. And I just, it's unbelievable to me how somebody could be like, oh yeah, I remember that girl that I raped. I'm gonna send her a fucking friend request on Facebook. Like, what? What? I mean, it was just, it was a really, really, really hard time. But it also, I also learned a lot from it. And I think, sorry, my dog is under the table. And I think that that's what made me even more empathetic for people in situations and have more compassion. And I know that there are a small number of people that maybe say somebody raped them when they've made a mistake, or like to get back at somebody. Not like they made a mistake. That wasn't the right choice of words. Like if they're mad at their boyfriend or something, you see people that will like say like their ex-husband molested their kids when that's not true. Yes, a small percentage of that is true. And it's sad because it's people like that that make it so that real women that have been through this are not believed, or it's their fault, you know? And it's really, really disgusting. And so after nothing nothing came of this, and it was like within a month or so, and he was going into the army, I found out that I was pregnant. I was on birth control pills. I think I missed one that week, but it could have been two. But I just didn't even think about it because I'm on birth control pills, you know? And I found out that I was pregnant. And that is going to be the end of this part. And I will talk about the pregnancy and everything that happened with that in part 2. This video would be way too long if I kept going, and I don't think I can talk about the rest of it right now. This was even a lot for me. But if you watch this video, thank you. And if you've been through something like this, you are definitely not alone. And I will see you guys in the next video. Love and hugs. Bye.